The requirements include mandatory participation in a domestic violence program.
He also won't be allowed to contact any of the victims in the case or, quote, encourage anyone else to contact them.
That's right. After being convicted and sentenced, the man once known for luxury, power, and controversy could soon be a free man. Sources close to the case say discussions are already underway to modify his custody terms, which could shift his punishment from prison time to supervised treatment and conditional release. If this goes through, it means Diddy could skip the remainder of his 50-month sentence and serve it under alternative supervision, possibly in a high-security residence or even a rehabilitation facility instead of behind bars. But here's where things get complicated. According to official court records, Diddy's sentence includes strict federal supervision, probation, and forfeiture terms. Still, insiders reveal his lawyers are pushing for a major adjustment, a legal loophole that could allow him to walk free much earlier than expected. The twist? This isn't just about good behavior or time served. Rumor has it, Diddy's team is arguing that his psychological condition and rehabilitation potential justify a special form of release.
He's actually asked to be moved to a federal facility. Why? What would that do to his living conditions?
Okay, so very specifically, he's requesting to be moved to Fort Dix, to a low security prison. So that would very much ameliorate, improve his living conditions from where he is in Brooklyn. So this low security prison is more like a dorm-like setting and also has a specific drug abuse treatment program that he's requesting to be a part of. And sometimes people who go through this program successfully can get time off at the end.
Mm-hmm. Well, Angela, we also know that Diddy is going to be required to work 30 hours a week upon his release. Do we know if that's like, he can just do whatever he wants? He's the owner, obviously, of a company, CEO. Or is this something that the state or the courts are going to mandate?
So this is interesting. It is pretty standard, and the legal language is work conscientiously at suitable employment.
It's controversial. And if it actually works, it'll rewrite the way high-profile federal sentences are handled. When Diddy first tried to handpick his own prison, the judge shut that down immediately. His request to serve time at the comfortable Fort Dix facility in New Jersey was flat out rejected, with the judge saying there would be no VIP treatment and that only the Bureau of Prisons would decide where he served his sentence. But now, new filings have flipped the narrative once again. Court documents reveal that Sean Diddy Combs is being reviewed for a residential re-entry program, a system designed for inmates transitioning back into society through community confinement, halfway houses, or even supervised home programs with strict behavioral and treatment conditions. If approved, this motion could mean Diddy spends the rest of his sentence outside prison walls, monitored under tight probation and psychological evaluation.
Music mogul will be under a supervised release for 5 years after he gets out from behind bars. The requirements include mandatory participation in a domestic violence program.
He also won't be allowed to contact any of the victims in the case or, quote, encourage anyone else to contact them. This all comes as Diddy is currently serving a 4-year prison sentence at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. What else are we learning about the conditions of Sean Combs' release? And is this all pretty par for the course, pretty standard?
Yeah, so look, a lot of these conditions sound pretty harsh, but they're pretty standard. Things, as you mentioned, like no contact with victims, also no contact with other criminals, no access to firearms, also unsupervised, or visits, drop-in visits from probation officers at any time, mandatory employment. So many of these are standard. But what I do think is notable is the addition of required treatment programs. And it's not just one, right? It is domestic violence, but also drug abuse and also mental health. The reason why it's so notable is because we all remember the defense described this as a modern love story. And even though Combs was acquitted of the most egregious charges, it's really a message from the court saying there's really still something that is not right here. There's treatment that is required. There's issues that need to be resolved.
Instead of completing the full 4 years behind bars, the decision is still pending. But even the idea that a convicted federal offender could soon walk free under conditional adjustment has sent shockwaves through public opinion. Many are calling it proof that celebrity privilege is still alive and well in the justice system. Behind the scenes, Diddy's defense team has been moving strategically, filing one motion after another to leverage every possible loophole. They've reportedly presented emotional appeals highlighting Diddy's family situation, his children, and his elderly mother, painting him as a man who needs rehabilitation, not more incarceration.
A defense presentation that really didn't make too much sense to me, like that video which went back clips of Combs during times in his career and interfacing with his children. I understand the idea behind it because the whole defense argument relates to a few things. One, that this is a case of somebody who is being targeted. There is a focus on other cases and what those sentences were like in other Mann Act cases, which was by far the best argument for the defense. But in addition to that, there are mitigating factors relating to relationships with family, the fact that his mother is elderly, that he has contributed to the community. But there is a limit to how far that goes, Laura, before it becomes much more hubris than actually motivating the judge to make a decision in their favor.
Whether the court buys that argument or not remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, Diddy's lawyers are fighting like this is their final chance to get him out. At this point, it's starting to look like Diddy's legal team may have planned this all along, a strategic move to find a corner or loophole that could push him closer to an early release. Every motion, every filing, every emotional appeal seems to be part of a bigger plan to get Sean Diddy Combs out of custody before serving his full time. But now, even people who once stood by him are speaking up, and what they're saying isn't helping his case. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard and longtime associate, came forward with a powerful statement. Gene worked closely with Diddy for years, but this time, his tone was different, almost emotional. He admitted that Diddy is finally facing the consequences of his own actions, saying Diddy has shown no real remorse, and that what's happening now is simply karma catching up.
I'm happier than a barrel of to see him like that.
So you don't got no kind of sympathy for him, seeing them pictures, him crying and...
Bro, let me just tell you something, man. God is good. I don't have no sympathy. I never have sympathy for somebody who was trying to take me from mine. You understand? Was he thinking about when he was telling people to get at Big Gene, to do this to Big Gene? Was he thinking about what if them dudes would have did that? Would he been thinking about me? Nah, bruh. Would he broke down and start crying for me? Nah, bruh. I don't have no sympathy for him. To see him like that, I know God is good. And God showed him. He can make you, he can break you. And I'ma say it again. You might get flagged for this. I'm happier than a barrel of dicks, bruh. Don't you see the smile on my face? Bruh, I'ma be totally honest with you. I don't have no sympathy at all. Cause I know he can play all the games he wanna play. Did he have sympathy when he said, I don't give a fuck if Pac gotta die. I don't give a fuck if Big gotta die. Suge Knight can go to jail. Did he have any sympathy when he said to Wolf, I don't need you no more?
That hit hard. When someone who's been in your corner for decades starts talking like that, it says a lot. It showed just how deep this controversy runs and how even Diddy's inner circle is starting to distance themselves. Then, out of nowhere, a former mobster entered the conversation. Michael Franzese, ex-capo of the Colombo crime family, spoke about Diddy's situation during an interview on Banfield. Franzese, who knows the prison system inside and out, shared what Diddy could be facing if things don't go his way. And according to him, prison isn't built for people like Diddy.
Well, everybody's different. I'm sure he went back was somewhat disappointed, so he's probably, dwelling on that. Hey, it could have been differently. Maybe I should have gotten out. Maybe he's a little bit upset, a little bit angry. I get it. All those emotions come into play. But right now, he's got to get ready. He'll spend a couple of weeks there until they designate him to a new facility. And he'll be a lot better off in prison than he is in the federal jail. At least there you can move around and you got some freedom on the yard and things like that. My thought is he'll collect himself, get himself together. There are ways for him to improve himself. They have the Bureau of Prisons now has a drug program. And if you're allowed to get into that drug program, you can knock as much as 18 months off your sentence. Now, I don't know if he'll qualify, if they'll allow him to go in, but he'll probably start to think about, okay, what can I do to reduce my time now? That's what everybody thinks when you get in there. Is there any way we can better ourselves? He's thinking about what facility they're going to send him to. to. I'm sure he spoke to his lawyers and he asked his lawyers to put in a facility that's close to his home, close to his family, a low or medium level. I don't think he'll get into a camp.
Can you though? Does your request actually count? I mean, I thought the feds just put you where it works for them. I didn't think you get a say in it.
Well, here's the thing. The judge, you could ask the judge to recommend. The Bureau of Prisons doesn't have to go along with the judge's recommendation, but it does help a little bit. They do try to sometimes satisfy the judge's request. You can put in a request, and sometimes they'll honor it, sometimes they won't. You know, it's really up to them. They're not bound by anything at that point.
Now, the big question everyone's asking is simple. Is this really justice or just another celebrity escape plan? Because looking at how Diddy's defense team is moving, it's clear they're pulling every string they can find. They're using every loophole, emotional appeal, and personal detail to shift the narrative. From convicted mogul to misunderstood man in need of help. They've brought up his kids, his elderly mother, and even his mental health, painting a picture of a man who deserves care, not punishment. But let's be real, if this were anyone else, would they even get that chance? The system right now feels like it's walking a razor's edge between justice and privilege. Some believe Diddy deserves another shot at redemption. Others say he's just trying to buy his way out of accountability. Either way, the truth's about to surface, and the next decision from the court could change everything we thought we knew about this case. What do you think? Is Diddy getting special treatment, or just playing the game better than anyone else? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because this story is far from over, and the next update might shock everyone.